What's going on, fight fans? DJC Combat here, and just recently, as y'all know, one of Alexander Pantoja's recent wins just went 0-2 in the UFC, and now a lot of people are starting to put Pantoja's legacy and resume in question, and it's kind of funny because prior to UFC 319, a lot of people were putting Pantoja over this man as the greatest flyweight of all time. Demetrius Johnson, 27-3. I know some of his wins, two of his wins got redacted on Sherdog. I'm not sure why. Maybe because they, blended in some of his amateur wins with his pro wins. Whatever. I'm still gonna call him 27-3 because it looks more badass. Or no, he's 27-4. But either way, it looks more badass than just putting him as 25-4, if that makes sense. But literally, 11 title defenses to Pantoja's. Okay, they're not even putting his title defenses here. But Pantoja has 4 defenses, 5 title wins in total. And people were saying that this guy could be the GOAT over DJ. Dude, even Pantoja himself will tell you he needs 3 more years to surpass Demetrius Johnson, which, let's be real, that's not going to happen because in 3 years, Pantoja is going to be 38 years old. The flyweight division is going to improve. He's going to be fading past his prime. And there's going to come along someone that's going to beat Pantoja before he can even surpass DJ or get there 3 years from now. It's not going to happen. He is not above DJ, and he will never be above DJ, okay? And I want to explain why, and I just want to kind of correct some of you revisionists who try to downplay Demetrius Johnson's legacy, because it seems like now the general fan base, they don't care about how many title defenses you had or how dominant of a champion you were. They care about who you beat. They care about your level of competition. They're not factoring in the nuance that literally the sport evolves. Yes, fighters get better. That doesn't change how great you were in the past just because you beat the fighters of back then and not the fighters of today. It's kind of like an unfair argument saying Anderson wasn't really that great because he only beat Cans, which is stupid, or George St. Pierre wasn't that great because he didn't beat the top welterweights of today. It's a stupid freaking argument, and I'm going to correct that because not only does Demetrius Johnson literally have more defenses, he also has good wins back then as well. I did my research before making this video. But let's get to Pantoja's resume first, then I'll get to DJ, okay? So Alexander Pantoja, 30-5. That's a good record. And I'm going to say before his championship days, he didn't really beat anyone that notable. I mean, on Tough, he beats Brandon Moreno and Kai Kara-France. Good wins for that time. And then let's see. Okay. Beat Brandon Moreno again at UFC Chile. Beat Wilson Hayes, not really that good of a win. I know DJ beat him too, but Wilson Hayes proved to be a bum. Lost to Figgy. Matt Chanel is a bum. Chinny bum, doesn't matter. Askar Askarov, he lost to him. And then let's see. Okay, he beat Manel Kopp. So I'm going to say from 2021 to 2023, Pantoja's resume started to upgrade. But I'm going to tell you this. It took a big dip in 2024 up until now. I'm going to explain why. So 2021, he beat Manel Kopp. That is a very solid win. That same year, he beat Brandon Royval. That is a very good win. Alex Perez, inactive bum, not really credible. But Brandon Moreno, again, for the 3rd time in Moreno's prime, great win. Brandon Royval, again, an improved version of Royval. Great win. But here's where it takes a hit. Steve Erceg. He fought Steve Erceg, the number 10 guy at the time. Okay, and he went life and death with Steve Erceg, who was ranked number 10 and not deserving of a title shot. The UFC should have just given the shot to Manel Kopp, even though Manel Kopp pulled out of the fight. Well, Manel was actually supposed to fight Nicolau in April and pulled out, so he couldn't have fought in May, so that makes sense, actually. But they could have given it to Muhammad Mokaev, who literally fought and beat Perez on the same night that Erceg beat Chanel. The UFC went with Erceg, okay? And then what happened to Erceg after? Erceg, I don't know if I should open up Steve Erceg's Sherdog. I don't want to risk buffering and wasting time in this video, but you know the story of Erceg. Because that win And that tough win did not age well. I don't care if Steve Erceg went on to beat Ode Osborne or whatever. Ode Osborne's not a top fighter. Because Steve Erceg went on to get smoked by Kai Kara France, lost to Brandon Moreno, okay, proving that he was never ready for the top dogs. And Steve Erceg himself has potential, but he's not a top guy. And then here's where it gets ugly. Kai Ezekura got a title shot in his UFC debut. Come on now, in his UFC debut. Why? Oh, because there was no one for Pantoja? There was literally Kai Kara France, who he fought one fight later. He couldn't have fought Kai in December. Like, was Kai injured or something? Like, that makes zero sense. And it's not like Kai Ezekura was like on this crazy win streak before moving to the UFC, okay? He fought 1 year prior, beat Juan Archuleta, who wasn't really that good in Bellator. Yuki Motiya, I don't know who the hell that guy is. And then before that, lost to this guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try. Then beat 3 other unknown guys, and then lost to Kyuji Horiguchi, who I'm going to get to later, right? So he had a pretty spotty record. So 5 wins, and then I'm going to say 4 losses. He was 5-4 leading into his title shot to Pantoja, against Pantoja. Outside the UFC, he was 5-4. It's not like this guy was undefeated or looked unbeatable. So it was pretty obvious that Pantoja was going to go out there and smoke him in 2 rounds, and he did. And that win aged like milk, because guess what? Kai Ezekura came back, lost to Tim Elliott, journeyman Tim Elliott, old man Tim Elliott, who's solid, but lost to him, showing that he's got no ground game. Got out-grappled and got subbed inside 2 rounds, the same way he lost to Pantoja. Losing to Pantoja is understandable, but losing to Tim Elliott and now 0-2 in the UFC, and that's not it. This guy is literally talking about quitting the UFC. The UFC wasn't going to cut him. But Kai Ezekura himself literally is like, nah, I'm not built for this organization. I want to go back to Risen, where I can just go back to crushing cans, since clearly I'm not UFC level. Yeah, that's not very appealing. I'm just going to say that. And then, okay, so what if Kai Ezekura leaves the UFC? Then literally, one of his 4 title defenses will have never won in the UFC and was never that great outside of the UFC. And then his second defense was never built for the top 5, which was Steve Erceg. And then Kai Kara France, I mean, is it really that good of a win? I'm going to try to risk opening up his SureDog, but it might take time. I might have made a mistake, because these things take time to load and it's really annoying, but Kai Kara France didn't have that great of a record. Okay, there we go. And this guy also has double-digit losses too, 25-12. But he was literally, let's see, he was 1-2 in his last 3, leading into a title shot with Pantoja. And I think Kai Kara France, he's dangerous, but he's kind of overrated. Like, Kai just isn't a championship level guy. And he wasn't consistent leading into a title shot. So I think Pantoja is like his only 2 credible title wins was Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval. Those are his only 2 good wins as a defending champion. Now, let's look at Demetrius Johnson's record, because again, I did my research. Let's see who this guy beat outside of ONE FC in the UFC, which were literally good wins, okay? So, he beat Joseph Benavidez for his first ever title win, split decision, but Joseph Benavidez was literally, until 2018, was the second best flyweight in the world outside of Demetrius Johnson, okay? Prime Joe B was a beast, and DJ beat him not only once, he beat him twice and slept him the second time, and it took 5 more years for Joe B to lose again, okay? And then, okay, he fought John Dodson to defend his title, and John Dodson in his prime was dangerous, and he was another solid top bantamweight contender, flyweight contender. He was a bantamweight too, but he was also good in the flyweight division, knocking dudes out, okay? Fought for the belt twice. DJ had to beat this guy twice to send him packing to the bantamweight division. But I think in between those losses to Mighty Mouse, he was winning. And that's why he was able to earn himself a second shot at the belt. John Moraga, that win didn't age well, But leading into that fight, John Moraga was on a good win streak. He was a solid top contender in his prime. And then Ali Bagatinov in 2014. Ali Bagatinov was one of like the first wave of the Dagestani fighters that you see today. Although, actually, I don't know, did he make his UFC debut before Khabib or after? Maybe a little bit after, I'm not sure. But he was one of the rare breeds of these Dagestani monsters that are ruling the UFC right now. And he was on juice. He was on steroids. He was on EPO. Mighty Mouse beat a roided up Dagestani Ali Bagatinov in one of his many title defenses. That is a good win. Okay, Chris Carriaso's a bum. But Kyuji Horiguchi, this guy has won a lot outside of the UFC, had a good run in the UFC leading up to the title shot with Johnson. And then he had a few losses, I think, outside the UFC, and then he lost to Sergio Pettis by like a fluke KO. But I think he's put together 5 wins since then. 5 wins in a row since losing to Sergio Pettis. And he just re-signed with the UFC, okay? And then Henry Cejudo, and arguably beat him twice. I mean, he didn't beat him twice, but the second fight could have gone to him. But he knocked out Henry Cejudo, who went on to be one of the best fighters in the world after. Henry Cejudo, a 2-division champion, okay? An Olympic champ and a 2-division champ in the UFC, and beat really good names. After losing to Demetrius Johnson, they don't call him Triple C for nothing. Okay, DJ beat him, and then okay, he beat Ray Borg. Ray Borg sucks, whatever. But his best wins in his title run, let's just round them up right now. So his best wins, Joseph Benavidez. Oh, I'm going backwards here. Okay, let me do it again. Joseph Benavidez, John Dodson, John Moraga, Joseph Benavidez again, Ali Bagatinov, Kyuji Horiguchi, and then if I didn't skip over John Dodson, I'm going to say 7 good wins as a champion in the flyweight division. I'm going to go over just one more time to make sure I got it right. I'm going to recount. Number 1, Joe B. Number 2, John Dodson. Number 3, John Moraga. Number 4, Joe B. Number 5, Ali. Number 6, Horiguchi. 7, Dodson. Okay, I didn't miscount. And then 8, Henry Cejudo. So he's had 8 good, credible wins as the champion. These guys are not bums. But casuals will have you thinking that DJ only crushed cans, which is so dumb. Now, some of these fighters might not hang with your best flyweights of today. I'm not arguing that. But to say these guys weren't good for that era as well is ridiculous. Now, I do think Henry Cejudo in his prime could probably be a flyweight champion. I'm going to say prime Cejudo would be the flyweight champion, would beat Pantoja. He wouldn't be able to do what Demetrius Johnson did. And I think Demetrius Johnson in his prime would beat Alexander Pantoja prime for prime in a fight. But that's kind of a topic for another video. I actually have a breakdown of that fight in an older video I did from last year, like current champs versus like the GOATs of their division. But there you go. There you go. Demetrius Johnson is still the greatest flyweight of all time. And he does have good wins. He has more good wins through his whole career and title reign than Alexander Pantoja ever did. For defense, Pantoja has a long way to go before he can even come close to DJ, before he can even surpass Demetrius Johnson. He is the second greatest of all time, but he cannot step to him in terms of being the GOAT. And okay, hold on. He beat guys like Kai Kara-France, Ursay Azakura, Royval, Moreno, as if DJ wouldn't beat these 4 or 5 guys too. I think Moreno would be a tough fight, but I think prime DJ would outsmart and outskill Brandon Moreno. He would beat Brandon Royval pretty easily. He would beat Steve Ursay pretty easily. He beat Kai Kara-France or Azakura easily, and he beat Kai Kara-France as well. Like, DJ was ahead of his time and could definitely hang in this current era in his prime if he wanted to. So the Pantoja being, the go over DJ debate, it's debunked in this video. Case closed. Now, I could understand people putting Merab over Cruz because Merab in the bantamweight division has more good wins than Alexander Pantoja does in the flyweight division. And I'm going to say Merab actually has more good wins over Cruz. And right now at bantamweight, it's kind of unclear as to who is the GOAT because three guys have three defenses. Aljo has three defenses. TJ has three defenses. Cruz has three defenses. No one has broke the 4 defense record. And Merab is literally 2 more defenses away from surpassing all 3 of those guys, Aljo, TJ, and Dom. If he beats Corey and then wins his fight after that, he is the bantamweight GOAT because he'll have not only have the better resume than Cruz and TJ, not better than Aljo, but he'll have the most defenses. Okay? Now, I don't just count resumes when it comes to being the GOAT. I mean, I get the argument when it comes to this guy beat this guy and that guy in the past didn't beat someone that good, but you also have to factor in how many wins you had as a champion, how long you stayed on top, how many defenses you racked up, okay? But the whole point of this video is just to disprove this whole idea that DJ did not fight or beat anyone good in his prime. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and peace out.